Alright, so if we go up to, I'll just bring my organiser, I'll leave that there. If we go up to the first floor, you can see I've made some advances here as well. Basically what I've done is, because I'll turn my trace on, if I just turn the trace on here, and if that's not working for you at the moment, you might have to fly out the choose reference and choose your ground floor as your reference for your trace. That way you can see all the structure that you've got sitting underneath the first floor. So I decided I could delete one beam because we've got enough concrete block walls that could be used for support. But we need to keep this beam here because I want the floor line to extend out past the front of the elevator opening. So you can see I've added some new posi strut floor joists. Now I found another way of doing those. We were using the truss maker to put our floor joist in place. I found it a bit better after I found the object, using the object tool. Going up to objects, well, I'll select one of these first. If I select one of those floor joists, I just used it using the object tool and went up to the settings dialog box, and under, let me find where it is for you again, under your ArchiCAD 20 library, basic library, building structures, wood trusses, there is a metal web joist truss, which is basically a posi strut. So I'll go through some of the settings that we use, but the trouble is there is a bit of a problem with that, and I wasn't going to use this for some time until I found a way of adjusting it for our purposes. And the first thing is, you'll notice that none of the timber cord sections are set up for Australian dimensions. We want 35 by 70s, 35 by 90s, and also the height dimensions. We want a 248, I think it is, to match the posi struts that are available in Australia, and 300, 360, these are obviously American or European dimensions. So I had to figure out how to change that. So I did that, and I'll just take you through. So you can select this first for your first metal web joist to set this up, and actually cancel, we won't do that first. What I did was, under File, Libraries and Objects, if you go Open Object and go into your, it'll be your ArchiCAD 20 library that you'll start with, and go into ArchiCAD Library, Object Library, Basic Library, Building Structures, Wood Trusses, and you can select your metal web joist truss from there. I'm just going to cancel mine, and well, that's the one I want you to select, but I'm just going to cancel mine and come back and select something different to step you through. So I'll just go back into the one that I've already created earlier, which is Libraries and Objects, Open Object, and I'm going to get mine from the embedded library because I've already done one and made a change. So if I open the one that I've called posi strut, you open up the object editor here, and I found after quite a bit of work that if you come down to the just the parameters, it must be, if you come down to the parameters here, and if you come down to joist heights to start with, and if you click on this little symbol here, no, not that one, sorry, I'll just escape out of that. It must be this, no, which I've got to get the right one. Oh, it's this symbol over here, sorry. So if you click on joist heights and then click on this symbol over here, it opens up a table of array values that you can type in. Now I've just gone and typed in the ones that are available in Australia now, overwritten the ones that you will have there. These are the right dimensions that you really want. You want 197, 248, 302, 360, and I'm not too sure. I think 360 is the largest one in Australia, but you can probably tell whether I've adjusted that one. It might be 412. Otherwise, I've then left all of these the same after that point there. So I've just made sure I've changed these ones: 197, 248, 302, 360, and maybe the 412. I'll let you decide whether that's different from yours or not. And then you can click OK to that. And that will have then changed the available joist heights. Now the other ones is the stringer chord sizes. No, it's going to chord profile sizes here. So if you find chord profile sizes and then come across here to this icon and click on that, you can change these to the Australian available chords profile sizes. So we want, in column number 1, we want 35, 35, 45, 45, and column number 2, 70, 90, 70, 90. And that will allow you to get your combinations of 35 by 35 or 45 by 70 or 90. And then if you then close that down, it will ask you, do you want to save the changes? It'll ask you, do you want to save the changes and give it a new name. So give it a name, Posi Strut or something like that. It'll also come back and want you to save the changes to your actual model. I think I did actually save changes and come out and started it open again, but in this case I haven't made any changes, so I've just gone cancel from that dialog box. But after you've done that, you should then find that you'll be able to go to the object tool, and in your object tool it will now be in your embedded library, and in your embedded library you should now have a Posi Strut. And you can find now that you can change your timber chord sections to Australian sizes, and you can also change the heights, even though, well, actually there's another parameter somewhere I should have changed for the height code name. But if you change your height here with this flyout, you'll see the standard sizes that we typed in there are now available, and you can change to those standard sizes there. Okay, so it looks like I've got 360s. I think we'll leave it at 360s if that's what I've got. That should do the job there anyway. Okay, so then it's a simple matter of you just using your object tool, selecting the object that you want to use from your embedded library, selecting the size that you want it to be. We probably want it to be 45 by 90, I would think, and we probably want it to be, I think, the 248. And then click OK to that, and then just place a joist. And then it's simply a matter of just selecting and pet tool dragging either the length, the end node, so you can drag the length, or clicking on it again, lengthening it out, or using the pet tool again to change rotate. So you can rotate your floor joists if you needed floor joists to be rotated. And then it's just a matter of copying them in place, and we want them all to be located. Well, I think I did that from a section view, so I'll show you. I've got a section view here already set up, so if I open up my section view, we'll see one of these joists in place here. So after you've placed a joist, so there's my Posi Struts, and if I select one of those Posi Struts there, I've just simply moved it down to be 22 millimeters below floor level. I put in a guideline off the floor level dimension line over here, so that I did have, so I'll just put another one in there for you. So if you drop a guideline down on your floor level dimension line, you can then drop your Posi Struts to 22 millimeters below that line, so that'll allow for your red tongue flooring to go in on top of your Posi Strut joist. And then from once you get one of them set up to the right height, and then it's just simply a matter of you copying them around at 450 centres to suit your particle board flooring, structural particle board flooring layout. So I think I probably started along the lift shaft here. So this one here along the outside of the lift shaft to put the first floor joist in, and then I just went from there because that one ends up being very close to the top of the stairs anyway, and then we could just trim off the top of the stairs with a 45mm packer if we needed to, or something like that, a 45mm piece of timber of some sort. And then we can just sort of copy across 450 in this direction, closing up the last gap, and then 450 in this dimension, and continuing the 450s, closing off the last gap. And then I just placed a joist on top of this block wall at this point to just trim the floor back to around the stairs. I've got a joist, I've got a trimmer sitting in on top of this block wall at this point here, which will also enable these joists to trim into. But that's other than that, it's a pretty simple floor joist layout. I then decided to just replace all of these. It was a simple job then to copy one of these across here and then replace all of these here with the new posi strut joist layout. So in 3D, if we have a quick look at what we've got in here, if I just hide that floor, if I hide that slab, layer, hide layer, you can now see the new, oops, something's happening with my mouse, here it is. So you can now see my new posi strut joists. They're a little bit nicer than the ones we were using, because you can see the steel web, etc. is being made a little bit more like an actual posi strut. But like I say, it was a bit limited to start with to get the actual Australian sizes. That's why at first I thought we weren't going to be able to do it. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to make sure you did. You'd find yourself limited to lengths. I'll just go back into the settings here. Sorry, we want the end trimming method. If you stick with the framed end trimming method, you seem to be restricted to different lengths. But if you go to a solid web, you seem to be able to stretch it out to whatever length you want it to be. The other thing was I've just sort of incorrectly you can't sort of extend the top chord without extending the bottom chord, etc., which is what we would really want to do. So what I've just done, I've brought the whole joist right through on top of the steel beam, so the top chord sits on top of the steel beam. In actual fact, this part below won't exist. That'll be sort of carved. That we might find a way of carving that out, otherwise we might just leave it like that. It's a pretty good representation as it is. Okay, so that's the floor joist. So I'll just go back to the first floor and see what else I might have done there. I've placed a couple of doors. So a door in this location, and the type of door that I used there was, I'll just go into the settings through here, found them under storefronts, and I just put an entrance double door. You can change your door leaf style at this point. And I've just done a matching one. There's my double door, and you can see there's a single one available as well. So I've just made that one there the double, and then I've got one on this side of the lift here as the single. Or you could make this one on the lift side here just a fixed glass panel, but I decided to make it an opening door as well. So they're my two doors that I've placed. I've placed a door at the back here as well. I've placed a door in the top here as well to line up with our stairs in the back. And that's all of the model changes, I think, at this stage. So I'll stop the video at that point.